Greetings and salutations, Dota fans. Welcome back to the D2L Western Challenge here on this Tuesday edition. We've got a square off between Team Liquid and Na'Vi. Just going to be one best of three once again for the day, but it should be a good one. Team Liquid going to be looking to bounce back from what had to be a devastating loss yesterday to Evil Geniuses in Star Ladder America. But if there's any bright spot, it's the fact that they looked better in that match than we've seen them look in a long time. Liquid, of course, has been struggling. We saw the departure of Fluff, and now trying to reform with Demon standing in. He will be standing in today as well. Then you have Na'Vi. What else do you need to say? They're the team everyone knows. They've got more fans than just about anyone on the planet, and for good reason. But in terms of how much we've seen them of late, has been a little bit limited. We'll touch on that moving forward. For now, let's go ahead and take a look at our lineup, starting with Team Liquid. Once again, it will be Demon standing in that empty position. They've got Quakefa in the off lane, who has been just an utter standout. Not just since he joined Liquid, but really going back to his time with Mousesports leading up to the International 2013. Of course, the experienced veteran in Bulba, the hard support, way too sexy, calling the shots in the captain's position, and the carry, TC, who has seen some struggles of recent, but is continuing to just be that rock around which this Team Liquid team revolves. On the other side of the river, they'll be taking on Na'Vi once again. None of these players really needing much of an introduction. They've got Host on the hard carry, one of the most exciting carry players to watch because he does tend to get a little chest out from time to time. Of course, Dindy in mid, who I don't think there's really any debate, the most popular player on the planet and one of the most electrifying mids you're ever going to have a chance to watch. Puppy calling the shots from the hard support position, one of the best captains, most experienced players in the world as well. Then, of course, Funnick and Kuroki in the support and off-lane positions. Now, those should be reversed a little bit, but regardless of that, regardless of errors on the plates, should be a hell of a match. And once again, I think we're all looking forward to seeing how Liquid is going to be able to bounce back in the face of stiff competition after their tough loss last night. I'm your host, Aaron A.C. Chambers, live from our downtown studio here in San Francisco. I'll be joined by Trout Dota for the co-commentary and analysis, so both coming your way in just a moment. The draft's already underway, should be back in just a few seconds. Stick with us here on the D2L Western Challenge. And we're into the draft. Na'Vi taking on Team Liquid in our lone best of three of the day here in the D2L Western Challenge. We actually have a lot of single BO3 days over the next few days, but heading towards week 2 and especially week 3, expect a lot more packed matches, so make sure you check out our full schedule. You can find that in a variety of places, but for right now, we can see the draft is already underway with Na'Vi snagging up the Beastmaster and Shadow Fiend right out the gate, while Invoker and Ancient Apparition are the selections for Team Liquid. To help break down not just the draft, but the entire game from the analytical point of view, welcome in Trout Dota. And Trout, you and I had a chance to cast together for the first time yesterday. Feel like I had a lot of fun, man, and really looking forward to today, not just because of the match, but to be back on the mic with you, and certainly love your insight, as I know all the viewers do as well.
Oh, well, thank you. I got to be the official D2L fridge, as people were spamming in chat yesterday, which is nice and fun, the monster fridge. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to the rest of the matches. And already there's a lot to talk about. A first pick Beastmaster coming out from Na'Vi. You know, you rarely see Beastmaster in general, but first pick, that's really saying something from Na'Vi. And also, I wanted to mention just briefly too with Demon standing in. I know they had Snaking standing in for a while, and I'm very curious to see if they're still going to run him as a support. They've kind of been bouncing back and forth, having him as a support, running him as a carry. I think it seems to fit them best right now in that support. Of course, nothing's solidified right now, but we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, Beastmaster starting off the draft for Na'Vi, pretty crazy stuff.
Yeah, I really like Beastmaster in general. Don't know that I like him first pick mode.
Yeah.
But we've seen the hero have immense success for a number of reasons. And there's a lot of pocket things you can do off of him. Obviously, one of the bigger things he gives you is dedicated lockdown. He's just one of those heroes you can snag early in a draft and know that no matter what the enemy team puts together, he's going to account for at least some of it. He has his aura, of course, which helps out at all stages of the game, early, mid, and late. And he gives you the vision of the Hawk. And, of course, the board can be a difference changer if it's well microed in fights as well. So he's a hero that, you know, it's one of those subtle things, but I do think it definitely makes him stronger. The changes in Blink Dagger in the latest patch, the fact that he can get a Blink now and he's not nearly as mana hungry as perhaps he once was, even though he does tend to shore that up a little bit with items like Necro Book and so on. But, you know, it's a solid pick. I just don't know, again, first pick status, a little questionable. Shadow Fiend coming out very early is a little surprising as well, because usually when you see a Shadow Fiend, you immediately know what your number one target's going to be early on, no matter what position the heroes run in, solo safe, solo mid, or even tri-laned.
Shadow Fiend is such a safe pick, I think, generally in almost any situation, though. They did pick it after the Invoker, and honestly, I feel like Shadow Fiend actually does pretty well against Invoker, all things considered. And also, there's an AA picked in the same set for Liquid, so Ancient Apparition is not really thought of as like the best roamer towards mid, so I think Shadow Fiend's a pretty safe draft. Especially here. But yeah, going back to the Beastmaster, I mean, there's other crazy picks going on right now. Well, not too crazy, but Centaur, Storm Spirit picked up from each team. But yeah, the Beastmaster, I have been seeing a little bit more offlane Beastmaster just simply because with the change recently that you can have this 2 boars as opposed to 1, it does change a little bit of the aspect of the offlane if that's what they choose to run the Beastmaster as. So I'm interested to see if they're going to have Funnick run that, and I guess he probably is, since they have both a Shadow Fiend and a Storm Spirit for Na'Vi, so that'll be interesting to watch.
Yeah, it's an interesting draft from Na'Vi's perspective, as you said. In terms of how you want to lane this, I mean, you've got 3 heroes in this, well, honestly 4, in the Storm, Mirana, Shadow Fiend, and Beastmaster, who can all run a solo lane extremely effectively. So how do you put that together? I mean, the support Mirana is the one that stands out the most. You're just not going to see support Shadow Fiends, Beastmasters, or Storm Spirits. I mean, that's how that goes. But who's going to wind up where is a big question. In terms of off-lane, Mirana and Beastmaster are obviously the ones who are the most likely candidates to wind up in that position unless they decide to do something a little bit crazy. But yeah, I think this is going to be a fun match from the draft perspective, if nothing else. On the side of Team Liquid, they grabbed Centaur Warrunner in the 4th position. A little bit more AoE to give them a little bit more initiation potential. Centaur has really seen his star rise of late, being picked and banned a lot more often over the last month and a half or so, compared to where he sat basically from the time he went into CM, which is in total obscurity.
Yeah, I mean, this is a hero I've actually really warmed up to. Prior to playing a team, I didn't really think that he really warranted a pick, in my opinion, for the longest time, but after playing around with him and watching other teams, it's just his ultimate's so strong, and I can't remember how it scales exactly to level 3, but especially when it is level 3, I believe it's 60 seconds, I want to say. I could be wrong, but it's just always up, and it's such a great tool that even if you don't have that Blink Dagger, if you're communicating well with your team, it's almost an ensured kill every single time you use it. And it's just a failsafe. Like, you can never go wrong by using it and not getting something from it because it is low cooldown. So, yeah, I've definitely warmed up to the Centaur, no doubt about it.
Yeah, and Centaur is another one of those heroes that really got helped out a lot with the Blink Dagger change, the removal of the mana requirement. And it wasn't the biggest deal. I mean, whenever you look at it, you go, oh, it's just 75 mana. But whenever you're talking a hero like Centaur, who has a number of things he wants to get up, he wants to tank on, maybe he wants a blade mail, that kind of a thing. There's just so much that he needs, and it's really hard to address his mana issues early on. With the Blink change, now he can try to get up a very quick Blink Dagger, and it's just their tag. It's, however you want to engage it, you want to rush them down, you want to Blink stop, then pop the ultimate so your team can rush in and try to just literally route them and pursue them down that way. So many options available to them, and they're going to go ahead and grab a Wraith King now in that last position.
Man, that Blink Dagger change is like one of my favorite changes in a changelog for Dota in years, man. It's not even just for pubbing and getting it on every random hero you can, but I feel like it's really changed the metagame. I really do.
Has.
Especially with, Centaur is a perfect example. You mentioned Beastmaster. I'm actually not the biggest fan of Blink on Beastmaster.
Really?
But yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of it. I really prefer an Ags Rush in most situations. But, I mean, things change all the time in game, and it could be good. Like who knows? It could be good in this game. You just kind of feel out how it's going, and if your team says, "Oh, we need a Blink Dagger, we need more initiation," then yeah, it's a good pickup. But but certainly on Centaur, even Wraith King is picked up. Probably not this game, but just every strength hero in general, specifically because they always lack mana issues. Well, now that's pretty much remedied with the no mana cost on the Blink. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm 100% on board with you. I feel like it was needed. I mean, you had just this core of initiation heroes that all really wanted Blink and all tended to really suffer in terms of their ability to stay on the map and stay effective and stay relevant, especially early on whenever you had mana issues. And, Earthshaker's a good example of that. Beastmaster, Centaur, Tidehunter, Sand King, etc. All of these heroes, I don't think it's a coincidence. You're seeing them picked and played much more often than you did. I mean, Tidehunter's seeing play a lot more now than he did for quite some time. He fell completely off the board. Still has the same relative strengths and weaknesses, but the rise of heroes like Centaur in particular, I think is, as you pointed out, very much owed, at least in part, to that change, just allowing him to stay relevant on the map for a longer time. So the way Na'Vi's going to be looking to lane this will be Dindy in mid, one would only imagine, with Funnick on the Mirana. And, well, I mean, in terms of how they're playing it, there's only so much you can read from lanes. I mean, that's something else you're seeing happen a lot now as we get closer and closer to TI4, and people are beginning to realize just how much more open the metagame is for, the Blink Dagger change has certainly had a big effect on that, as you had mentioned. But we're beginning to see more and more creative lanes. And, the only thing we could be assured of, virtually assured of, is Dindy in mid. After that, I mean, you've got Kuro on the Earthshaker, obviously he's their support. Puppey on the Beastmaster is intriguing, though, and I really want to see how they decide to end up running this from just how much aggression they want to put on and what they intend to do with these heroes and the way they intend to synergize them early. I mean, you have Vortex to set up the arrow. You're going to eventually have Roar on Beastmaster to set up arrows and so on. But if you were in Na'Vi's position right now, what do you think would be the optimum way to try and create these lanes based on what you see out of Liquid?
Well, based on what I see right now, I would assume a tri-lane top with a farming Storm and then the bottom off lane. But I'm not completely sold if this is going to be their heroes. We might see a swap from Puppey and Funnick. I'm not 100% sure. I saw them do this earlier today, actually.
Oh, yeah.
In their match, in one of their matches where I forget who it was, but they did it earlier. And I remember LD was talking about, why do they even have swap after or whatever? So they could still swap, but if it stands how it is right now, I would probably think it's going to be a Beastmaster tri-lane. I don't always say Beastmaster, but Storm Spirit tri-lane in the safe lane. But we'll see if they swap it up here.
Nope, they're going to smoke.
Early smoke,
right out the gate, and they're anticipating the same thing you are, coming out from Liquid. I mean, Liquid's kind of taking their time moving out here, and they certainly see who's on who. With Koikva and the Invoker, they can assume, well, I don't know. Like, at this point, like, all teams are kind of doing this. You're starting to see, I mean, in Koikva, Liquid's kind of a unique case because most teams, even though they'll occasionally play around with who's farming in one position, or they'll switch up positional farming priority and all that throughout a game, generally speaking, most teams have a dedicated mid player, if nothing else. But for Na'Vi, it's almost always, they're always going to have Dindy mid, and that's fine. But for Team Liquid, you're usually going to have a little bit of interplay between Koikva and Bulba in particular. You just see them always changing things up in terms of who's going mid, who's going to solo safe farm, who's going to be in the off lane, just depending on the heroes, because both of those players have such an unbelievable skill set on a certain number of heroes.
Yeah. Now, if Alliance was in Navi's position right now, they'd be going for some kind of bait into Roshan, as you see Liquid checking in there right now. But nope, they're not doing it, so not going to have any crazy start right now. And if you see Dendy's items right now that he's starting with, this is a bit different than we see, for instance, Arteezy run Shadow Fiend. Arteezy seems to get a lot more pressure, I think, in mid than most players do. So what he's been doing now is a very early bottle rush where he actually goes raise level 1. Not anything standard by any means, but it seems to be working out for him. But Denny's going for more standard Wraithband, double branch, and the double tango pool. So, and he's got a good block going on in the mid.
Well, the horn's blown, and we're underway here in Game 1 of our lone best of 3 of the day here at the D2L Western Challenge. And the lanes take shape. Let's take a quick run through our lineup, see who's handling who. It's going to be TC on the Wraith King, hooking up with the stand-in Demon, as well as Way2 here in this offensive tri-lane. They're on Ancient Apparition and Rubik, respectively. It's going to be Bulba solo farming the Centaur War Runner in the face of Funnick on the Mirana. And in mid, it will be Koikva once again on the Invoker. We're going to have to keep an eye here, as already Way2 might be in some trouble. Use this lift. There's Chilling Touch already used. The axes are there to do good damage. KuroKy now in trouble as well. Way2's going to end up dropping. First blood drawn by Puppey. Can they make it 2? TC's on his tail, but nope, not even needed as Dota Demon, even though he pays with his life, manages to get the return kill from the high ground. Nonetheless, first blood advantage and a 2-for-1 exchange as Na'Vi takes an early lead.
Yeah, that was a really fantastic Fisher there by KuroKy, who was able to block off the Rubik. And it was actually a deceptively good play there by Demon, as you saw. Who is it that died right there? KuroKy, actually. As he walked over the cliff right there, if you just click the hero from where Demon was standing, it'll make him run all the way around the cliff. So he actually first patiently walked as far up to the cliff as he could, and then clicked on him so he could actually get that attack off. It sounds like a big deal, or it sounds like a very complicated thing, but it's actually a pretty nice little play he did there. But still, it was a 2-for-1 exchange in favor of Na'Vi.
Yep, nice plays across the board. Demon getting on the board. Speaking of Demon, he's hooked up with Way2, and they're going to take a run in mid. Dindy down in the river, gets caught out. There's the telekinesis. The damage will be there, so that's a very nice pickoff for them to tie the score. And honestly, first blood advantage is excellent, but being able to bring Dindy down this early on is such a huge, huge boon for being able to disjoint whatever Na'Vi has in mind for the mid game.
Yeah, I swear I have the caster's curse, man. When I say one thing, oh, they can't roam mid with AA. He's not the best roamer. Bam, he roams mid and then he's dead. So
dude,
I don't know.
Chilling Touch is so good. Like that's all there is to it. Basically, so long as you've got any kind of dedicated disable or slow, if you have an Ancient Apparition, especially if he's already level 2 with a slow of his own on top of Chilling Touch, you can make things happen. Puppey's got eyes on Demon, and we'll run him out of the jungle. Demon's actually going to be hemmed up by Dindy, and Way2 says, nope, bad pathing, Demon. See you back in the well.
Puppey's level 3.5. He's almost level 4 on his support. I saw the board coming out. I'm like, wait, how could this be? So Puppey's got a lot of levels, and yeah, Demon was just kind of caught off in no man's land, and the board caught him off as well. There's a lot of farm on top of Puppey's good levels, too. He's got a stout shield, a boots of speed. The whole works, really.
Puppey looking good, and I'll tell you who else is looking good farm-wise, that's Bulba. He sits atop the board right now. He's at 17-2, so a great start for the Centaur. And Funnick, we can already see, he's having to play a little bit careful. Knows he can't get right in his face right now. Hang on at top. Avos could be in trouble. He's going to be tossed back. Demon's there with Way2. Doesn't have level 6, and using the wand charges only delays the inevitable, as an absolute blow-for-blow, haymaker-for-haymaker early game shows us 6 kills in 3.5 minute split right down the middle, 3 apiece.
Yeah, you got to be really careful with Storm in any lane that's pretty much not mid. Well, actually even mid too, but you're very, very susceptible to any kind of ganks or aggression early on until you hit level 6 anyway. So very easy kill there for Liquid. Nice to get another pickup kill, 3-3. Very even early on.
Way2 rotating around mid once again, trying to get in position. Dota, Demon. I hate when he does that. Just name yourself Demon, dude. You always make me want to say the front end of your word. The front end of your name, rather. Demon on the Ancient Apparition, beginning to roam around a little bit. Looks like they're not going to be taking a shot anytime soon. Taking a look at TC and where he sits, about middle of the pack in terms of CS, right there with Koikva out of mid. He's sitting at 16. And Dindy, despite giving up that early death, is sitting right at 19. That's just the power of a solo mid Shadow Fiend. Couple of points into Raze, couple in the Necromastery. You're just able to tally those CS so quickly.
Yeah, he was doing really well before he got ganked too, and that gank was able to help Koikva get the CS back up. And that's what I was talking about. There might be a gank here, actually. Demon's wrapping around in mid, and if they can get the lift off from Rubik, I think he was spotted, actually, yeah.
Nope,
so Dendy knows what's up, and on top of that, you have some support coming out from Puppey, so doing a good job about making sure that Dendy stays alive. But top lane, I see some aggression on the Wraith King. There's a block there from KuroKy, actually, and he's just going to use the TP scroll out, and he should be fine. The Remnant doesn't hit, so... Yeah, wow, TC gets out. Nice heads-up play by him.
Yep, so tough to do that, but just knowing at this level they're not going to have the damage by themselves, and the Vortex having already been used apparently was on CD, and that's one of the most satisfying plays you can make in Dota. I don't care what anybody says. Kills are nice, big plays are nice. Sometimes just going, you don't have the damage, and teleporting away in their face is just so damn satisfying.
If he took any more time with that, too, he would have been dead, because that Remnant was about, I wouldn't say half a second or maybe less to taking off on him. So, yeah, really nice play by TC.
Across the board, things beginning to settle out at least a little bit, though we do see Way2 and Demon hooking back up with TC at top. We're at 3-3 once again. TC escaping the wrath of KuroKy that time around. Puppy, though, is moving his way up as well. Speaking of Puppy, what level is he? He's just level 4, so a great start level-wise. Slowed down a little bit. Havos, though, looks like he might be ready to go. He's almost level 6 as well. Yep, they're going to take a run at TC. Kuro tries, no, actually, got disjointed, unable to get off the fissure, and still can't get it off. And now Kuro ends up dead after the cold feet. Demon's right there with TC. They're going to turn in on Havost and giving the right click. Up. Marana ult, yep. Just in time to try to save him. Puppy's still there and playing very, very strong, knowing he's taking. Here comes Havost out once again. They're going to get a return kill on way to. And now Demon being pursued out. TC spins the Hellfire Blast just to give Puppy a parting shot. Here comes Havost once again, knowing Demon is really squishy. One last auto attack gets another kill. TC trying to re-engage Puppy, blocking him off. They're both very low, not a half a health bar between them. But the response coming out from Liquid a little too slow on the return TPs, and Na'Vi comes out ahead once again in that exchange, make it 5-4.
Yeah, it was really good global ultimates from each of the offlaners. And I guess, there's some more initiation there. There's a lift actually from Rubik on a Storm. Kuroki's got a stun. Can he get it? It doesn't hit the Wraith King.
Yep, almost a nice vision. It's very close. Here comes Bulb up to help out. And this top lane quickly becoming a hell of a battleground.
Yeah, that was kind of a wasted TP by Bulba, quite frankly. But I was going to say, both of those offlaners, so to speak, and Bulba and Funnick, they use their ultimates to great effect. I mean, they got a kill with Bulba's, and Kuroki was able to save 2 members right there. And I don't know what Way2 was doing standing so far up there. I don't think he was checking or double-checking the levels or the mana pool of Puppy there. But, yeah, Puppy was just got a very, very easy turnaround kill on him. So I think Way2 needed to check on that mana just a little bit better.
Early on, we can see most likely the 2 heroes they'd love to have those kills on the most, the Beastmaster and the Storm Spirit, are the ones who have picked up 4 of the 5 kills Na'Vi has managed to notch thus far. 2-2 for Way2 on the Rubik and 1-0 on TC's Wraith King, as well as a kill for the Shadow Fiend. Played by Denny. He's actually very low health right now, just going to work in the net worth. We can see that's actually GPM net worth. He has opened up a little bit of a gap on Koikva, but he and Koikva both beginning to open up a larger and larger gap on the rest of the field. Let's talk about this Wraith King a little bit. I mean, we've seen the hero play quite a bit in the past few weeks and months and so on. How do you think this hero can be best utilized by Team Liquid as the laning phase begins to inevitably break down?
Well, there's so many different ways to run. I almost said TC, but run Wraith King. There's just countless item builds, and it's hard to distinguish which is really the best. You have to go into each game separately and with a different mindset. So right here, you're looking at a ton of stuns. Like, there's basically a stun from Storm. Kuroki Earthshaker's got multiple stuns. The arrow from Marana. The Roar, which is not really avoidable, but you're working against a lot of stuns. So sometime in the future, BKB is going to have to come out, I feel. And personally, I really like movement on Wraith King because he feels kind of clunky. And, initiation top.
Going on Havost. Havost immediately bursted down. We'll be able to ball lightning back behind the tower. Demon getting very brave coming out and dodging the axes afterwards, though. And Havost able to do what Havost does, which is always seem to make it away with very little health. Now they're going to go under Moonlight Shadow. There's going to be a Fisher that catches Demon. 1 TP out. Already done. Demon's going to be hemmed up here in the side shop and brought down. So a well-timed Moonlight Shadow, and Na'Vi punishing that aggression from Liquid, beginning to open up a little bit of a gap. Now we take a look at the gold. We can see on the back of those 2 kills and a little bit of more efficiency in terms of overall laning in gold. They're now up to about a 2,000 advantage in gold, a little bit more than that in experience as we approach 10 minutes in.
Yeah, this is one of the reasons why Storm is so good. If you're not able to fully commit and get a kill on him, he can just turn around and catch you so easily if he has a decent mana pool up. So, yeah, really good play there. And you saw the Centaur ulti use right there. They could have maybe used it a tad bit earlier, but nonetheless, like, this is what I was talking about. So he's already got 30 seconds left on it. It's the scaling's 90, 75, and 60. So it's really one of those things you can spam whenever you need to. But
as of right now, looks like Liquid beginning to just kind of reset a little bit. Liquid will snag himself a haste rune, taking that away from Funnick. And, the question for me is just going to be, well, a couple of things. Obviously, Dindy got up his Midas just a moment or two ago, so he's going to be hard farming. Same's going to be true of Koikva and TC, both getting Midases up. So 3 Midases on the field by 10 minutes in. This is a game that, could go very, very long if you want to look at just pure farm rates.
Yeah, it really, really could. And they both have actually really good late-game capabilities on each side. I really favor the Storm and the Shadow Fiend, though, late game. I feel like they're so darn strong when it comes to late game. Not to mention that Shadow Fiend just gets there faster than most heroes with his farming capabilities and the Shadow Rays. So, yeah.
Oh yeah,
it's going to be a long one. I feel.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Honestly, the later a game goes, the more and more I do like a Beastmaster, because what becomes ultra important late game, whenever you start to lose towers, whenever it comes down to, I read a really good, of all things to cite. I know it's a little weird, but there was a thread on Reddit asking someone asking, "Hey, I'm new to Dota. Can you explain to me why some heroes are carries and some aren't?" And there was actually a really well-written comment that summed it up using the word steroids. What innate abilities does your hero have that allows items to scale into the late game as more and more gold is accumulated? And Beastmaster basically is a walking steroid. Hang on. Demon, dodges the arrow from Funnick. Turns around, throws out a cold feed. Will be caught by a Fissure. Here comes Bulba, though. Jumping into the stomp, ulti used, and they, will be able to clean up Funnick with the double edge. So Funnick, leaping ahead and finding himself in no man's land, ends up dying there as well. And it looks like Na'Vi will be forced to retreat off of that. Now check that. Diddy just says, hell, I'll go bottom. It's fine.
Yeah, not the best play by Funnick, honestly. He could have easily hit the arrow and Demon Wall. Oh, there's a good Fissure. Kind of on the other side. Can Puppy attack? Yes, he can actually attack.
Leaning as far over as possible over the chest high
Young lean, as they'll say.
Exactly.
Yep. No, but what I was saying, the Totem arrow right there, Demon kind of walked in a very predictable route, and that really shouldn't have missed from Funnick. Also, not to mention, if you're leaping into an arrow like that to try to get the kill, you better friggin' get it, because that was actually the surprise blink from Bulba as well, but it kind of caught Pot him off guard, and he already leapt, so he was kind of screwed right there. Here's an early Roshan coming out from Na'Vi, though. They're going to lose top tower, though, from it if they want to commit to this, I think.
I don't think they're going to have any problem with that. I mean, honestly, there are just some teams that if you just notice, like, oh, they're deciding not to defend top even though it's at half health, they have to be saying to themselves Roshan. They have to know this is happening, just based on nothing but prior experience and certainly doing their homework. But honestly, there's not a whole lot they can do. I mean, Demon is 6, could check it with an Ice Blast if he wanted to. Doesn't even look like they're going to do that. Instead, Na'Vi just going to claim the first Aegis of the game. It's going to be an early one, as you said, coming out right at 13 minutes. And this is another one of those things that having the Beastmaster allows you to do. He gives you vision around the pit, even if you don't have wards down because of his creeps, and that whenever you're talking about a heavy right-clicker like the Shadow Fiend, who's going to be able to already have, by the way, I'm not sure if he placed that before or after, but already one point in the presence of the Dark Lord. So he's got armor reduction, he's got glass cannon capability, and then he has bonus attack speed.
Yeah, and actually Liquid, I'm pretty sure, had no idea that they were doing it. Here comes a possible initiation up top onto the Storm Spirit, who's going Necro Book, by the way. I think so, with those items. They really want him here, but he knows something's up, so Havos is playing this quite safely. Here comes an AA Blast up top. It might hit him, but yeah, they absolutely had no idea they were doing Roshan, because if they did, 100% that Ice Blast would have come out from Demon. I mean, it's a 30-second cooldown, or 40-second cooldown, excuse me. So there's no harm in just using that liberally.
We saw bottom tier 1 brought down, and Liquid looks like they're ready to abandon the siege, not liking the way things are going to look if Na'Vi had time to get in position. That's one thing Na'Vi has. Basically, if they're able to dig their heels in and get into the position they want to get into before you get to wherever you want to fight, you're going in at a huge inherent disadvantage just because of how mobile they are, the amount of overall lockdown they do have, especially if Shaker lands a good fissure, so on and so forth. So you have to be very, very careful. And Liquid respecting that, pulling back. So it's 5-7 after the Roshan and the trade of the tier 1s. We can see Na'Vi is opening up the largest lead of the game now. Still not insurmountable. I'd say it's mid-game and reasonable at this point, right about 3,500.
Yeah, and I actually really like Dendy's build this game right now, insofar as that he gets the BKB right after. There's an arrow actually trying to find Bulba. It's not going to hit him. Comes actually pretty dang close, but yeah, this build with Dendy with the Mask of Madness, it works really well if you know you're like farming way ahead of the opponent, which he is. I mean, he's got 105 CS to the top, next highest, which is Koikfo at 74. So he's farming very much, but if he goes BKB right now, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with, because he's going to attack so fast, and there's really no physical damage coming out from Liquid at this point until Wraithen gets a couple items, but he's actually not farming that well despite him having the Midas. So I really like this build by Dendy.
Yeah, it's what I think you could classify as true glass cannon. I mean, at this point, he is fine Fabergé cannon. and probably not going to back off of that. That's just how he is. And really, I think he can get away with that in large part due to the composition the Puppy's drafted for them. I mean, he can just hang in the back and go, okay, guys, go make me some space and find me some targets. You vortex, you arrow, you roar. He walks up, clicks you 3 times, and you're dead. Then he can back off, or he can optimally just get off his ult, if he wants to do that kind of a thing after his team has created an optimal engagement scenario. So 16 minutes in, and Na'Vi, I feel like, is looking to be in great shape. Like you said, TC is lagging a bit behind, and that's got to be a concern moving forward. Whenever you see a Shadow Fiend getting this far ahead, and you're your number 1 guy who's trying to farm the most, I mean, obviously it's he and Quakeva near the top for Liquid, but you need that brawler, and that's really all the brawler they're going to be relying on outside of the Centaur.
Yeah, and it's not TC's fault at all. I mean, one of the problems with Great King is he doesn't have farming capabilities like Shadow Fiend does. So actually, the fact that he's only like 900 below the Shadow Fiend is a little bit impressive, honestly. I don't know why I was saying his farm was too bad. I was just looking at CS, and obviously that doesn't dictate everything that's going on. But he's actually not doing too bad. He's going for Armlet. I really like Armlet on him, so kudos to TC.
Looked like Liquid was ready to go for a wraparound gank on Dindy. They backed off of it and instead just all go into lane. They're going to go ahead and trade tier 1s with Na'Vi. Na'Vi's going to be able to bring down the tier 1 top right about the time they bring down the tier 1 bottom, though. And Dindy's already in position. Let's see if they want to try to mass react to this. Oh, what a deny. Now they're going to go on him, though. That could be costly. Moonlight Shadow, not enough. Sentries go down in numbers. Now they're going to Vortex out Bulba. Bulba already having blown his ultimate. There's the roar, and Bulba in very, very big trouble as he ends up dropping TC now. In some trouble, nice Ice Blast comes out. They manage to get Dindy after all. TC going toe-to-toe with KKY and blowing his own ultimate. He'll resurrect. The slow is in effect, and he's going back to work on Kuro. Kuro going to be, nope, actually gets off the stun, and Quakeva coming in to help out. Puppy now in trouble behind his own tower. Hemmed in by TC, and Quakeva throws out the Axis. Funix right there to try and maybe get a return kill. He will be able to bring down TC, and in the end, an absolute bloodbath that sees 4 heroes drop on both sides.
That fight was all Quakeva. If he didn't, he had the biggest tornado EMP right there, and actually Earthshaker was walking in to get a really good initiation. Well, first he was trying to use the stun, got disjointed by the tornado. He came in to cast an ultimate on like 4 heroes, and boom, all his mana just went out. So he actually didn't even cast that fight, and that's all because of Quakeva. And that wasn't the only person he hit. I believe he hit 2 others as well. So yeah, Quakeva really saving the day. I think it could have been really bad for Liquid, but Quakeva with some clutch plays.
Quakeva and clutch plays kind of go hand in hand, man. And I, been saying that for a while, looking back to his ascendancy as a player, going back to his time with Mouse Sports. And I mean, you just knew that he was going to be snagged up by some team looking ahead into this season. And I'm just beginning to refer to it. Hang on, Tornado's actually going to catch a couple. Quakeva's going to throw out the EMP. There's an Ice Blast as well. Roar and KKY brought down by the Ice Blast, and Puppy's going to end up dropping to it as well. So very nice play from Quakeva in conjunction with Demon. Bulba even blew the ulti to make sure he could pursue out whatever targets happen to be straggling away. And because of it, not only did they get 2 kills, they get another tier 1 and take a tower lead. At bottom, though, we see Funnick with a double damage rune is trying to split push. We'll see if Liquid wants to pressure the tier 2.
Yeah, that was another really great initiation by Quakeva, but honestly, I don't know what they were thinking, Puppy and Kuroki just standing around like that. I mean, there was no one else, maybe one other player from Liquid showing else on the map, other than Quakeva and mid. And you can't just sit there right in front of Invoker, who has that basically full screen initiation with the Tornado. It was just kind of a sloppy little positioning error there from Kuroki and Puppy.
Quakeva responds to bottom, and Bulba just a hair off on his timing on the stomp as Murano was able to leap just in time. Don't know that it would have made a huge difference as he did blow Moonlight Shadow immediately afterwards, but nonetheless pulling the reaction. We're at 11-11 now. Again, Liquid does maintain a 1-tower lead, or did before they denied that bottom tower. In terms of overall gold efficiency, we can see Na'Vi still in the lead. Liquid has closed the gap, and on the back of this, I mean, it's so hard to overcome the farming capability, in particular of a Shadow Fiend. I mean, Quakeva's hanging in there as best as he can, and TC's actually done a good job of catching up. But so far, I mean, Na'Vi has just been more efficient with what they've done on the map.
Yeah, well, you can tell Na'Vi with their item pickups really want to take this super late game. Although here comes a big initiation from Bulba, or onto Bulba, I should say, from the Storm Spirit. He popped that Necro Book as well, gets a pretty easy kill for himself. Ice Blast coming out from Demon, now he ports out. So I was just commenting on their item pickups right now, and You know, that Necrobook 3 is going to be really devastating to TC when it comes to especially the late game. And I see right there for Dendy, he picked up a Shadow Blade, and I'm not. I gotta say, I'm not the biggest fan, but if they do try to take this to the more late game, I think it's going to pay off in the end. But he really, at some point, desperately needs a BKB. I feel like really badly until he can really start. So he can really start getting in those fights, just right in the fights.
No, I agree with you, and I think another reason it's a bit of an odd pickup, it feels like, is, you know, Shadow Blade, there's a lot of utility to it. The bonus damage is nice. And up hanging on the bottom, Funnick actually going to be brought down by Liquid as well, so playing a little too greedily in that bottom lane and ends up giving another one away. But the fact that you've got a Mirana on your team already, which means Liquid's going to be buying things like sentries, like gems, like dust to hang on. TC pursued by Dindy as well as Havost. Havost jumps right on top of him. There's a nice vortex, and that'll do. He actually blew his ultimate. Or Liquid blew his ultimate to try and get him away. Now he's going to turn around and go to work on Dindy, but Dindy using the Shadow Blade at the last second, so there's one usage of it. And TC, unfortunately, having no detection. Puppey secures the kill with the roar and the axes with a little help from Dindy as well. So Na'Vi goes blow for blow once again. But yeah, like,
oh, the ice blast.
Oh, what a shot! Demon swinging from the shoelaces and hitting him from downtown. Where was Demon when he shot that? He had to, yeah, I was going to say close
between
to mid
the tier
lane.
1 and tier 2 and mid, yeah.
What a shot by the stand-in all-star Dota Demon. But yeah, it's a fun match, I'll tell you what, man. 26 kills in 22 minutes, and this has been a very entertaining game so far. Yeah,
it has. Really good job by him. And it does look like Denny's going to go straight for that BKB right now after the Shadow Blade, and I like that. I mean, Shadow Blade's still fine because it actually helps you farm a little bit more. You can push out waves when otherwise you couldn't because you have that safety net of the invis. But Liquid's been doing a really good job about sitting behind, specifically Way2 and Bulba. Been kind of sitting around Quake for the majority of the game. And it's simply because, like I talked about, he has that really long, like, screen-wide initiation. So if you can get any kind of, like, initiation on top of that, it makes it very, very easy to get kills on anybody.
Taking a look at who's been doing work in terms of drawing blood. 4-2 for TC, so he's actually having a pretty damn good game when you look at it. I mean, he was a little bit behind, and like you said, most of that handicapped just by the limitations of the hero. Nonetheless, he's found ways to make impact where he can, as well as find what farm he can. Dindy's sitting at 4-3, so already given up a few too many deaths early on, and it's slowing him down a bit. Puppey's at 3-2, and Storm Spirit at 3-2, played by Havost. Then after that, kind of the grab bag, and we do see Quakeva, as of right now, hasn't killed quite as many, but has yet to die as well, so 2-0 for him. Yeah, I'm actually really impressed with Quake with the fact that he's actually beating SF in net worth right now. It's pretty impressive. And there's a 4-man smoke sitting right around Quakeva, so there's some pretty cheeky plays coming out from Liquid. Two of them get revealed, actually, so I think Na'Vi knows what's up. Do they have a Hawk on him as well? I can't really see. No, one's coming in right now, yep. So the Hawk taking a look around, and it was actually Kuroki who was sitting in the woods right next to the Rosh pit that ended up revealing things. Puppey has his ultimate up, and Liquid for now looks like they want to prioritize mid lane. Shaker with his Blink Dagger up, has all of his cooldowns available, and Havost. Book 3, and not a whole lot else, honestly, just a bottle after that. But Dindy now getting up the Mithril Hammer. One would imagine that'll be on the way to a BKB, though I guess Deso, honestly, he's got 1,200 gold on him already, so it's possible. He's just going 100%, no doubt about it, glass cannon, Deso. Did he actually buy the Deso? No, it's possible. No, he has the BKB now. Did he just buy it? Okay. Yeah, I don't know if you'd want to go Deso if you already picked up the lifesteal. No, so. I agree. I agree with you. Like, to me, it's one of those things you don't see it all that often. But yeah. Oh, here we go. Yep. And Funnick stomped, brought down, and Demon with another well-placed Ice Blast. Dindy, under cover of his Shadow Blade, hanging around. Liquid might try to make something happen off of that. Funnick might have buyback. Hang on, they're going to jump right in. There's an Echo Slam and the stun out on TC. Immediately, Demon's brought down, and Dindy is just chopping wood on Team Liquid. We'll go ahead and use his ulti. Well, thought about it and thought better of it. But up at top, we see Na'Vi helping to clean things out. Funnick's back up and ready to fight, and Na'Vi takes a 5-man wipe. Cost them nothing but Dindy, and they will end up getting an Aegis out of this as well. So, disastrous engagement here in the Rosh pit for Team Liquid. Poor Dendy, he did like 75 to 80% of the damage in the fight, and he's the only one that dies for Na'Vi. I just think that's funny.
But man, he buys the BKB. It's a 10-second BKB, and bam, runs in there, just like I thought. Like he runs in there, no one can touch him, and he literally 3-shot the Rubik, and then went to the Demon. I think Demon was at the half HP, 2 shots him from there.
Exactly.
And then, yeah, he just wrecked face in that last fight.
Life of a glass cannon, man. Shoot your wad, then shatter.
Well, the funny thing is it's kind of not even like that much of a glass cannon because he has so much movement speed from the Mask of Madness.
Excellent
And since
point.
no one else can stun him with the BKB on, and also I mentioned too with TC's build, I do like it, and he's going for the Deso actually, which is still good, but one of the problems I feel like with Raking is he's so freaking clunky, man. He has no movement capabilities. So I really feel like he needs maybe a Saint Inyasha, but that's asking a lot at this point. I mean, he just bought his Deso.
Yep. DC, though, I mean, I think he deserves special mention. I mean, there were a lot of questions about his play and their devastating loss last night. Or I guess it was, this depends on what time zone you're in. It was last night for me. But I think he's having a great match so far and doing what he can, again, given the limitations of the hero. Koikva, as you mentioned, really playing another great game of Dota, but those are more often than not with him. And we're going to see Demon picked off right next to his Ancients as a Fissure even secures the escape of Phonic. The rest of Na'Vi wants to go ahead and rush down this ridgeline. Only 1 stack of Ancients, but looks like Na'Vi's happy to take it. We're going to see Havost taking a jump through the woods and trying to find a target. Moonlight Shadow has been used. Dindy kind of off by himself up in top lane. Looks like this will be used to no avail.
Yeah, very quirky build from Havost this game with the Boots Travel and the Necro 3, but I gotta say I'm actually a fan of it this game. It seems to work well. You can Boots to travel to the arrow coming out. It's not going to really hit anything, but you can Boots to travel to the Hawk as well, which is always a great little thing to do. Very cheeky plays, but I was going to mention one other thing I told. I like the idea too with the mana boots on both Puppey and to Kuroki. It's one of the only tools you have as a team to kind of give yourself back that mana that an Invoker would steal with the Quas Wex or the EMP. So it hasn't been that effective early on, but it's still there, and you're going to need to get back some mana. So that's just one thing to note.
And just coming back around to what you said about Boots are traveling onto the Hawk, that's actually something. Hang on, Kuro. Dusted and way out front, looking for someone. Koikva could be a target. Here we go. Hawk's there for the TPN, and Bulba comes in to try and disjoint this. Koikva's already down, 3-man stop. Helps out a bit, but the Aegis will end up being given away, but they'll be happy to give it away in exchange for a double kill on Koikva and Bulba both. Demon not looking like he's going to make it back home the way he'd like to, and yep, Avos right back up, adds to his killing spree, makes it 4-0. Well, 4 for Aegis, I suppose, but this will be the death of a tier 2 for sure. And this is beginning to feel like the gasp moment for Team Liquid. Like, they have to be in a little bit of panic. They have to try and get themselves back out onto the map. If Navi's able to not only bring down this tier 2, but to clear out all remaining towers, including the tier 2 at top, and then just set up shop in their jungle with how gank-oriented their lineup is, I don't know how Liquid will be able to do anything but sit under their own tier 3s.
Yeah, and to address some issues that Liquid are having right now at the 28-minute mark, I'm not the biggest fan of the Wraith King, and it has nothing to do with TC in this play. I think he's been playing fine. It's just I don't think it fits here. Like I said, there's no other word to put it than he's just clunky. Like he has no mobility. His farming capabilities are rather lackluster, and I just don't feel like he fits well in this game.
Na'Vi takes the tier 3, backs off for the moment. Let's see if they want to re-engage. Yep, they're going to use Moonlight Shadow. They're going to come out. Beautiful fissure thrown from Kuroki to cut off TC. He's down for sure. Bulba, though, comes out to try and deal some damage, but ends up dropping as well. Koikva leading the way with another Tornado EMP. Na'Vi going to be reinitiating off of Dindy's big ult as he melts down the rest of the team with a double kill and make it a triple kill. Actually, Kuroki stole that from him. Cheeky little earth shaker. That'll be GG, though.
That escalated quickly.
Yeah.
It was pretty much even throughout most of the game, and then starting with that Rosh fight, Dandy just trampled all over them, and Na'Vi really took it home after that. So well played. It's really fun to watch Na'Vi in particular. I mean, their team play is just better than most I've seen, really. I mean, it's just really fun to watch them. They all bounce off one another so nicely, and they understand each other. And I remember listening to an interview a long time ago with Puppey. He talked about how they might not talk the most in scrims or even in matches. That just attributes to how well they understand one another. They don't have to say anything. They just know exactly when to go in, when to back off, and things like that.
Oh yeah, I could not agree with you more, my friend. I remember speaking to Puppy the last time I saw him, which I believe was it was the international, the last international, talking to him about that. And he said the exact same thing. He's like, we just know what we need to do, and we know how to communicate with each other. They're efficient even in their communication, and the result certainly translates well into victory. Speaking of victory, they walk away 27-15 winners in a sub-30-minute game. Take a look at the standout performers across the board. Another good game on Shadow Fiend from Dindy as he finishes up 9-4-5 with a 622 GPM on top of that. Puppy playing on the Beastmaster finished 3-2-14, really in good shape throughout most of that match. I feel like Kavos did a great job on the Storm Spirit as well. And when you look, no one was in negatives. Funnick at 6-3 and just an even break for Kuroki on the Earthshaker. TC on the Wraith King, as you said, didn't have a bad game, just the hero itself takes a little bit more help than I think Liquid was able to give him in terms of being able to execute and translate what you do manage to accomplish into some sort of tangible win. I'm your host, Aaron AC Chambers, the voice you hear on the other side of the mic. His name is Trouf, and he's lending the insight and analysis not just today, but throughout all of the D2L Western Challenge. This is our lone best of 3 of the day. Again, Team Liquid taking on Na'Vi. Na'Vi now leads the series 1-0. Hope you guys will stay tuned for Game 2 and potentially a Game 3 coming up next. Again, stick with us. We'll be right back.